All right, all right. We are live. Welcome to what part this is? We're on part 4. Y'all ain't no grace of this big, did you? Let me put it on here. Y'all thought this was going to be like, oh, it's a gift. And then that's it, huh? Oh, no. It's bigger than just a gift. We are live on Facebook. We're going to wait just a little bit and let a few people jump in. Class. This is class. This is not church. Friday night, Bible study. A Bible study with grace, of biblical truth, where we go in and we rightly divide the word of truth, unashamedly, dispensationally, BCVD. That's what we want. When you come to us and you want to, teach us, we need BCVD, Bible, chapter, and verse dispensated. You understand me? I said I had a pop quiz, but I didn't put it together. I got caught up. Uh-oh. I think the camera screwed it over or something, Bronco. Screwed it over just a little bit. So, let's go ahead and just put the dog into the pantry. I mean, into the bathroom. I'm not gonna wrestle with the dogs today. So let's go ahead and put the dogs in the bathroom and let's be done with it. All right, so we're talking about grace in its entirety and how it plays a role in salvation. All right? We've learned so much in these last 3 parts. Each part has been about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that's a good 1, 2, 3, 4.5 hours of training and teachings on grace in its entirety and how it plays a role in salvation. All right? Quickly, we learned that grace in the New Testament is a lot different from grace in the Old Testament. Is that false or is that true? Fiction or nonfiction? Huh? That's true? So it's nonfiction, right? So grace in the New Testament, the Greek word for grace is charis. And what does that word mean? Devin? Loud. Favor, blessing, or kindness. That is correct. Favor, blessing, or kindness. That's what that word means. In the Greek word means in the New Testament. All right? So when you look at the word grace, we are taught that grace is what's called a gift. Right? And that is true. Grace is a gift, and God gives is what? If it's irrevocable, can you lose it? No. Is there something you can do to lose a gift from God? No. If you say that it is something you can do to lose a gift from God, you're saying that God's gift is irrevocable. I mean, God's gift is irrevocable based on the merits of something you got to do or something you have done. Now you're calling God what? The devil. Liar. Scripture call the devil the father of lies. All right? So we wouldn't dare put that on our king. I'm not. I'd rather be wrong in all this way than call God a liar. I'm not going to do it. So remember, in the New Testament, grace means 2 things. And what is that? Devin.
Common grace and salvational grace?
Absolutely. Common grace and salvational grace. So you've been studying your notes, I see. Common grace and salvational grace. Devin, give me an example of common grace. God causes his to give me an example of common grace. God causes his to on the.
Is it grace rain on the
Vontae, help him out. Give me an example of common grace. Y'all talk loud so they can hear you. Joshua, help them out. Give me an example of common grace.
God's sun shines on the just and the unjust.
God causes his sun to shine on the just and the unjust. So put that in your notes. What does that mean? God causes his sun to shine on the just and the unjust. Brooke.
He still gives grace to those who don't believe. And the ones who believe.
I take that. It don't matter if you a believer, unbeliever. He's still gonna cause his sun to shine on you. How many people in the world today do bad and do wrong? What about the one that go and shoot up the school? Or rape the little child? God still what? Cause his sun to shine on them too. Whether you like it or not. That's how holy and that's how gracious he is. You can't even fathom that. You mean tell me he still get to eat steak and he done sit here and did this? Yep. You're dealing with a God full of grace. Full of grace. So let's get this thing together and let's continue to understand grace in its entirety and how it plays a role in salvation. So we talked about Noah. Noah found grace, right? Remember we talked about last Bible study how the word found and find is associated with grace right before the word grace populates 26 times. So 39 times the word grace is found in the Old Testament. And out of that 39 times, 26 times the word either found or find is right directly in front of the word grace. Only in the Old Testament. Not one time is found or find mentioned directly in front of grace in the New Testament. Why is that?
Jesus Christ already.
We ain't got to work for it.
Yeah, Jesus got to work.
Jesus on everything. So why they don't teach us that? Why they don't teach us the truth? Why they don't teach us that the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ? Why they don't teach us about Mr. Grace and Truth himself? You got to find it. They teaching us a doctrine that is applicable now. They're not teaching you false doctrine. It's not false. I mean, that's exactly what Noah did. He found grace. So they saying the right thing. They just applying it in the wrong dispensation. In doing so, they completely erase Mr. Grace and Truth himself. You know who that is. Jesus Christ. The hope of glory. The hope of glory. All right. So watch this. Found and find is associated with grace. We figured that out. We talked about Noah. Who else we talk about? We talk about old Ruth. Let me put her down. Ruth. Who else we talk about? Jacob and Esau. Who else we talk about? Moses. Oh, I'm trying to see if y'all. Who else we talk about? That was it? Absolutely, that's it. That's how we talk. I'm trying to see if y'all. So we looked at all these Old Testament saints about grace and its attachment to them. And we all discovered that each one of these particular people had one thing in common about grace. They had to what? They had to find it. And then what? It was what? Found. Each and every last one of them people had to go through the same process. Jesus Christ himself, Mr. Grace himself, in truth, had to go through the same process. The scriptures say he grew in stature and what?
In knowledge.
You close. He grew in favor and stature with God. That means the grace grew with God. You know, another word for grace is favor. Remember that, right? So I want to talk about this one person. I said on the last Bible study that we're going to talk about, King David. That's right, Veronica? But I want to switch it up on this Friday night. You understand me? Because I found something very intriguing. Very intriguing. It's going to blow our mind. It's going to peel our cap back. You understand me? This is class. This is not church. It's not a monologue. We dialogue. I want to talk about another guy who exhibits in the Old Testament a part of that 39 time usage, a part of that 26 time usage, exhibit grace. But the grace that was exhibited by him was something more prolific, unworthy. I got to show y'all this grace, man, so we can really see how much it's Jesus that saved us and not us. You can really, like, if you just really look, you'll really see, and you will just bow down and be like, man, you know what? I ain't done nothing. This one particular person in the scriptures, he's really only known for one thing, but we don't really know the truth and the real truth about him. And it's not King David. Who is his final person in the Old Testament that I'm going to talk about grace? I'm not going to talk about nobody else in the Old Testament about grace. This is the last one. Which person is this? I mean, his story is prolific. You say Job? And Elijah? And John? And Isaiah? You say Isaiah? And it's the Old Testament. Really? Leviticus? Who is that? Huh? Give me the person you think. Okay, look, I'll tell you what. Let me just write it down. I no sense to keep playing with y'all. Luke. Oh, my goodness. Let me hurry up right down. Y'all ready? It starts with an L, though. It starts with an L. What you say? It starts with an L. Forget it. Lot. What y'all know about old Lot?
Not a whole lot.
It was Abraham's nephew. All right. What else?
Abraham gave him. He gave part of his inheritance. He had his, and Abraham had his stuff.
You said Abraham gave a part of his inheritance to Lot? What else y'all know about Lot? Hopefully y'all say the most important thing.
And he was saved from those people that were trying to get him, the giants.
The giants were trying to get him? Wrong. He did find grace. There, what is it called? Sodom and Gomorrah. How did y'all forget Sodom and Gomorrah? Wow. Sodom and Gomorrah. Typically, when you see the word Sodom and Gomorrah, you think of that is one city. That's wrong. It's two. Sodom had his own king. Gomorrah had his own king. And Sodom and Gomorrah had many cities inside of those two kingdoms. All right? So, in the Old Testament, grace was for sure sufficient, but you had to go out and find grace in order for it to be found. Scriptures say all these particular people found grace, even Ruth. Right? Let's figure out how Lot found grace. So I can show you the difference between how God used his grace in the Old Testament, and then when Mr. Grace and Truth himself came, switched it around, and grace was then switched to a gift. Today, it's different. Grace is a gift, and it is given freely. Do I got to read that scripture? We ain't got to read that. Hey, what's up, Deja?
Is that the same said for salvation as a gift and it was given free?
Absolutely. Salvation is a gift, and it was given freely. Salvation, for these particular people, it wasn't given freely. Obviously, Noah had to work. If he was going to build that ark, would he have been saved? No. Y'all remember Jacob and Esau? I ain't got to go into that. Today, you don't have to go and find grace in order for it to be found, like in the Old Testament. The sun just shining, and you sitting here and did your parents wrong. The sun still shine on you. You don't sit here and talk down and avoid your mom, your dad, but the sun still shine. The reason for that is because Mr. Grace and Truth himself came and did what? The death, burial, and resurrection, the DBR. Let's look at some more grace usage, scriptures in the Old Testament, so we can vividly see how God used his grace in the Old Testament concerning Lot. Concerning Lot. All right. We're going to be switching back and forth from King James Version to CSB so you can get a better understanding. All right. I'll let the reader determine if it's too, understand. If it's not that much, you can't really understand it, then he can switch over to CSB. But for now, we're going to crank this thing up with KJV. We'll go to Genesis chapter 19 and 19. Let's see it. Let's hear it when he get there. Got to make this make sense.
Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me, and I will die.
Y'all see that? He read the Christian Standard Bible. Let's read it in KJV so they can hear the word grace.
Behold now, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me, saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die.
As you can see right then and there, the scripture said Lot found what?
Grace.
That's it?
And mercy.
What kind of mercy?
Magnified.
Magnified mercy. See, we skipped that part, didn't we? So Lot found grace. Magnified mean like super mercy, like great mercy or something like that. So I'm going to put great mercy. So something happened where Lot found grace and he found great mercy. What happened? What y'all think? Before we even get into it. You got to remember, in order for something to be found, someone has to go out and find it.
Yeah. He was probably righteous.
He was probably righteous? All right. So you guys saying he was probably righteous and obedient?
Yes.
He had to be for an angel to come to him and he listened. Tell him to escape when this city is about to be destroyed.
Oh, this is going to be good, y'all. I say the best for last.
It sounds like Noah's situation. Where this whole earth about to be destroyed and Noah found grace and
right, because he was in his generation.
Right.
Okay.
He was the best in his
the
generation.
best.
So it
right.
sounds like
Not the same.
All right, let's see. Because we just read that Lot found grace with God and great mercy. Some done transpired for him to get great. Notice Noah only found grace. He ain't found great mercy. Mercy is God withholding. I done gave the curriculum away. God withholding the punishment we deserve because of sin. Lot found grace and great mercy. Uh-oh, the whole narrative done changed now, ain't it? The whole narrative done changed.
Lot, what you been doing?
Some had to go down for Lot to find great mercy. Let's figure this thing out so we can get this thing together. Now, I want to say this real quick. The word find associated or attached to grace in scriptures does not mean, and I repeat, does not mean search. Now, to us today, when we finding something, we got to, we searching. Man, go find my wife. Put my phone there. Somebody go find it. What you got to do? You got to get up and go search for it. That is not what the word find mean in the Old Testament in scriptures. So do not associate search to find when you read, when it's associated and attached to grace. It's not something you search. That's what it means in today's language. The definition of find grace mean what? Do. There it is. You got to do something. What's that do?
Faith, obedience, righteousness, doing work.
Absolutely. So faith, it means, find means this stuff. Faith, obedience, right living, doing. That's find grace. All right? That's find grace. So we gotta go back in the scriptures and see what did Lot do in order to have found grace and great mercy with God. We only read Genesis 19 and 19. All right? Y'all ready? In order for us to figure out what he actually did to have found grace, what we got to do? What we got to do, Vontae? Genesis 19 and 19 said that he found grace and was given, and he got great mercy. So what do we have to do to figure out how was it that he had found grace and was given great mercy? What do we have to do? We got to rightly divide it under the correct dispensation. So now let's go back and let's read the entire chapter. You can read it in CSB. That way they can understand it. But let's rightly divide this chapter dispensationally. All right? Allow the Holy Spirit to open your ears, open your heart to hear key words, key components, and the structure on the way the Holy Spirit is writing his book. All right? We're going to read Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 through 38. You use CSB to make it more easier to understand.
The two angels entered Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway.
Hold on one second. Remember the context before we begin. We're trying to figure out how in the world did Lot have found grace and also was given great mercy. We got to figure that out because we're talking about grace in its entirety. So don't just don't just listen to what Ladarius is reading. Hear him. Hear him. When each sentence he read, let it, all right? I'm ready.
The two angels entered Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground and said, "My lords, turn aside to your servant's house, wash your feet, and spend the night. Then you can get up early and go on your own way." "No," they said, "we would rather spend the night in the square." But he urged them so strongly that they followed him and went into his house. He prepared a feast and baked unleavened bread for them, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole population surrounded the house. They called out to Lot and said, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so we can have sex with them." Lot went out to them at the entrance and shut the door behind him. He said, "Don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I've got 2 daughters who have been intimate with a man. I'll bring them out to you and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men because they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of the way," they said, adding, "This one came here as an alien, but he's acting like a judge. Now we'll do more harm to you than to them." They put pressure on Lot and came up to break down the door, but the angels reached out, brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house, both young and old, with blindness, so that they were unable to find the entrance. Then the angel said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else in here, a son-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place because the outcry against its people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-law who were going to marry his daughters. "Get up," he said, "get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his son-in-law thought he was joking. At daybreak, the angels urged Lot on, "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But he hesitated because of the Lord's compassion for him. The men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. They brought him out and left outside the city. As soon as the angels got them outside, one of them said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to flee to. It is a small place. Please let me run to it. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive." And he said to him, "All right, I'll grant your request about this matter too, and it will not demolish the town you mentioned. Hurry up, run to it, for I cannot do anything until you get there." Therefore, the name of the city is Zor. The sun had risen over the land when Lot reached Zor. Then out of the sky the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah, burning sulfur from the Lord. He demolished these cities, the entire plain, and all the inhabitants of the city, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, and he saw that smoke was going up from the land like the smoke of a furnace. So it was when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived. Lot departed from Zor and lived in the mountains alone with his 2 daughters because he was afraid to live in Zor. Instead, he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom of all the land. Come, let's get our father to drink wine so that we can sleep with him and preserve our father's line." So they got their father to drink wine that night, and the firstborn came and slept with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the firstborn said to the younger, "Look, I slept with my father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight so you can go sleep with him and we can preserve our father's line." That night they again got their father to drink wine, and the younger went in and slept with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the Ammonites of today.
Ooh, man. Now, My question for y'all is, did y'all hear anything that Lot did in his finding?
He kept them from. He kept the angels from getting from the people that were trying to have sex with him.
He kept the angels?
No.
But the men,
Angels kept them.
The angels stopped that?
the men that was with him.
How did Lot find, how is it that Lot was found grace and great mercy?
Because he off the rip, went for to let the gay stuff go down. When they was trying to take the man, he told, nah, y'all take this girl, y'all go do whatever y'all want to do with her, but leave this man alone. Y'all can take this woman, do whatever y'all want to do with her. And I ain't just seeing them like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We rather see that than this abomination y'all about to take place.
Is it or is it not still unlawful for, him to give up his daughters?
So he was sacrificing his own flesh and blood because he knew they were Lord. They were angels to the Lord. So
let me make sure I'm getting this correctly. What happened, the way he found grace was because he was willing to offer his two daughters to go out and have sex with the gays to prevent the other gay men from having sex with other men.
I think it was when the angels went to the gate and bowed down to them.
When he bowed down to the angels at the gate?
And when he took them into their house and watched their feet.
How did Lot get this found grace? And where did the great mercy come from?
Mercy from his daughters.
Like what piggyback what Jocelyn said, they came over, they told him no. He urged them, now, y'all gonna come together. They said they were gonna, now we're gonna wrestle, we stay in the square. He urged them like, now, I come this way, let me take care of y'all.
So Lot's persistence on getting the two angels to come to his house is a way that he found grace. Offering his home. All right, let's go back to the definition of find. What is find biblically when it's associated? Faith, obedience, right living, doing. Did Lot demonstrate any of those things?
He demonstrated obedience.
Doing. One thing he did was
What? Where did he show faith in, obedience in, and right living in?
Obedience. He showed he really.
Listen.
Brooke, how you doing? You all right? Truthfully, it sounds like to me, Lot ain't about nothing. Let's rightly divide this chapter. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to see what it is? Yeah. Let's rightly divide it dispensationally and unashamed. Now, here's what I came up with. Lot wasn't no good. And here's why. Lot made a lot of bad, selfish choices for him and his family, based off of what Laderick just read. All right? But in order for me to really see that, I had to look at who Lot was before Sodom and Gomorrah, because chapter 19 just don't give me what I need to know. All right? But before we do that, just to ensure that there was a found grace by Lot and a great mercy given to him. It's so great that Peter, the Apostle Peter, mentioned it. Let's go to 2 Peter before we get started.
I want to say something. All the angels always seem like, that people scared to look at them. Not these two, now they want to have sex with them.
Oh, no.
They came as men.
They came as men. And they come as men too. In a true form, any angel gonna be. In a true form, every angel gonna look scary. They ain't gonna look like us. They got a what's called a kind of a celestial body. They don't have this. What's this? Test. What is it? It starts with T. It's like celestial, but it starts with a T.
Yeah, bro.
Terrestrial. There it is. All right, look. 2 Peter chapter 2, 7 through 8. 7 through 8. Let's hear it.
And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds.
Did y'all hear that? Mm-hmm. Y'all want to hear it in a different translation? All right, let's do CSB. 7 and 8.
And if he rescued righteous Lot, distressed by the depraved behavior of the immoral, for as that righteous man lived among them day by day, his righteous soul was tormented by the lawless deeds he saw and heard.
Righteous Lot is what he called him. It was righteous. But did we read anything in there that was righteous about him? Peter read the same story we just read. And he wrote righteous Lot. Peter read nothing different. He read the same thing. So let's figure this thing out. How was Lot called righteous Lot? Now watch this. Good God. Now watch this. Let's be truthful. When he read that verse, Lot made a lot of bad choices. A lot. So we're going to rightly divide this thing dispensationally. And in order for me to really get a true understanding about Lot and righteous and all that, I had to get out of that chapter and go to some previous things before he even got to Sodom and Gomorrah. Because that wasn't telling me nothing. To me, he looked like a dude that went against the grain. All right. Bad choice number 1. Y'all ready? Lot left Abram. We know him as Abraham. All right. Lot was the nephew of Abram. We know him as Abraham. Lot's father, Holland, died, and so Lot was taken in by the family. And you can read Genesis chapter 11 to get that. So Abraham, it's Abram, but we call him Abraham now. He is the uncle of Lot. I pretty much gave the whole curriculum away now. All right. God spoke to Abram, making him a promise. Y'all ready? Let's go to Genesis chapter 12, 1 through 4. We will not know this if we don't rightly divide the word of truth dispensationally, unashamedly. Genesis chapter 12, 1 through 4. And whenever Ladarius ready, he can just go.
Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
All right. So who was that promise made to?
Abram.
And what? And who else though?
Lot.
And his relatives.
And the relatives.
What scripture is that?
So we got the promise.
12, 1 through 4. Chapter 12, 1
Who confused? And Lot left with his uncle.
Yep.
How many times y'all leave with y'all uncle? Your dad ain't there. Are you going with your uncle?
Yep.
Especially if your uncle in tune with the king.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to leave nobody like that, right? Not Lot.
Yeah, Lot is.
Lot left his uncle.
He sure did. I don't know what he was thinking.
Let me keep going. Abraham left and Lot went with him. That's what he just read, right?
Yep.
Let me tell you about Abraham and Lot real quick. Abraham and Lot had a lot of livestock. A lot that were owned. Tents.
Rich.
They're rich. Both of them. All right. Abraham, so they went to that land he's talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And watch this. The land they went to couldn't support both of them because of all the stuff they had.
Too much.
It was just too much. So there was arguing going on between Abraham, herdsman, and Lot's herdsman. They were arguing because the land wasn't, supportive enough. Abraham didn't want any strife with nobody. He didn't want the quarrelsome, the argument, or none of that. So with Lot's herdsman and with his nephew Lot, because they are family, right? You don't want to argue with your family. Abraham didn't want none of that, right? Abraham said, you can get the left part and I get the right part. Guess what Lot do? Lot said, I don't want to share. I want my own. I don't want to share. I want my own. Let's read about it. And since me just telling you the breakdown. Genesis chapter 13, verse 5 through 11. Genesis chapter 13, verses 5 through 11. Hey, Brittany, what's going on? KJV. It's up to him, but I would prefer KJV.
And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other.
All right. So Abraham wanted to stick together, not Lot. We ain't gotten Sodom and Gomorrah yet. Not Lot. He wanted his own. Oh, that look good. Give me Jordan. I set up my stuff there. I'm going to do me. Now, Abraham, I don't want no arguing. Look, let's stick together. I'll take the left side of Dallas. You can take the right side of Dallas. Now, Lot said, I want Fort Worth. You can have Dallas. Because of, watch this, because of Lot's bad choice, the land he entered a land 5 kings was battling for. Now, he didn't know that, obviously. But if he just stayed with his uncle, Abraham, connected to God, he'd have been straight. Right? So there was a battle going on with about 5 kings. And they was out fighting, and they also rose up against him. And guess what they did? They defeated him, talking about Lot, and took Lot, and they also took Lot and his family, and all the goods that he had, and all the goods in the city, and all of Sodom, and all of Gomorrah. Stripped them down. So now Lot is held in captivity with nothing. He should have just stayed with his uncle. But he didn't. He made a bad choice. Now, he didn't necessarily know. But then again, he should have just stayed with his uncle. Who was connected to who? To God. Right? But watch this. Oh, Abraham got word, though. Hey, your uncle, your nephew, he done got caught in captivity. In the battle, the kings got him. Guess what Abraham do? Abraham went and got his nephew back by defeating the army and got all the goods back from Sodom and Gomorrah. And guess what Lot do? After all that, bad decision number 2. Dude went back to Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's read about it. Genesis chapter 14, 1 through 4. I'm trying to figure out where this found grace came at.
Magnified mercy coming from, though.
Boy,
So,
he had a magnifying mercy.
we good.
Yeah.
And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elazar, Shedolamer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bereshah, king of Gomorrah, Shanab, king of Admah, and Shemabir, king of Zebom, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the South Sea. 12 years they served Shedilamar, and in the 13th year they rebelled.
Y'all see the war?
Yeah.
Oh, Lot didn't know about that. Dude
He didn't do his
was
research.
just selfish.
Yeah,
He didn't want to share.
basically.
He wanted his own. And it cost him. See, look, a prosperity preacher tell you this. And that's what y'all do today. Nah, I'm not going to tell you that. Because we under grace. I'm not going to tell you that. All right. You go read number 11 through 16. Because remember, Abraham went and got his nephew. Come here, Neph. Now come on home. Nephew, I appreciate you. I appreciate your help, but I'm going back to the same situation. Let's hear it.
And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Ishmael and brother of Anir, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night and smote them and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on his left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people.
So, oh, Abram. And you keep going, you start hearing about Melchizedek and,
Yeah.
Oh, Abram won the war. When he got his home in-house people. How many in-house people we got? Huh? All right. Bad choice number 2. Dude went back to Sodom. He went back. You serious? Bad choice number 3. Lot didn't like the city, but it was hard for him and his family to let it go. Talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. Because we just read he was vexed, right? But it was just hard for him to let it go. It's too much fun. I mean, I feel bad about what I'm doing, but man, it's fun. That's the position he was in. Lot living in Sodom with ease, you notice, because he was sitting at the city gates. And when you back then, when you sit at the city gates, y'all know what they indicate? They indicate that you had some level of influence in the city. Go back and look at the old time days, on how what it means to sit in front of the city gate. Can anybody be in the front of the city gate? You was a representative of that particular town, or you had some kind of great influence. Okay? Some kind of great influence. And you know this to be true. Let's go back. Question. All right. You know this to be true. Let's read Genesis chapter 19, verse 1.
And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground.
So y'all see, he was already at the front of the gate. He wasn't an outcast. Not in front of the gate like he's begging to get into the gate. No. That is not what that's saying. When you sit at the front of the gate, you have some type of influence, some kind of control, gain power. All right, that's what that means. Not like a beggar trying to get into something. All right, that is not what that means. Okay, so Lot insists on showing the strangers, which were angels, but he didn't know they were angels. He just thought they were men. Right? He didn't know they was angels. He identified them as men. Lot insists on showing the strangers who had come to visit hospitality. Why? Why is hospitality so richly rooted in Lot? It had to be some of the practices that he dealt with in the city.
So how you figure he didn't know it was angel when he was bound to him?
Because the scripture never stated that he knew the strangers were angels. They were men. So
You think the significance was him bound though? His face toward the ground. He ain't gonna do that to no.
it could have been, it possibly could have been something that he remembered with Abram or something, because Abram did, 3 angels did come to Abram appeared to Abram in the form of a man. And just me speculating. And Abram probably told Lot. It could be on. I don't know if that happened before or after.
He talking about Terry and washing your feet and everything.
Right. But he never mentioned and called them out as an angel. These men could have been dressed, greatly. Keep in mind the war. It was just happening. He just got back from, got out of captivity. These men was probably looking very royal or something. But you don't find in there where where Lot knew that they were angels. Not once. But it do say that they were men. So it makes sense to assume that Lot thought these were men. Because the scripture does say that they were men. They were angels, but
They had to be wearing some stuff that looked royal.
Righteous living though is the washing of the feet and
washing feet.
he washed the feet and he said that in washing feet we was early. The hospitality he was giving, like washing the feet.
That's most definitely something to look at. Washing the feet isn't righteous living. Righteous feet is just an example on being the servant to someone.
I think the biggest fulfilled was some vow when they first to the ground. Like, that's royal to talk.
Right, that had to be
They probably looked a part of great men.
right. They could look like some great men. And keep in mind, it was a big war going on. It took place for on 13 years. They finally rebelled. 12 years he probably been seeing kings and royalty left and right.
Or maybe he said that he was in captive. So
Right,
he probably thought, hey, he might be cured of.
right. He probably thought all kind of stuff. These men probably look very good. Because he wanted them to come into their home and give them all kind of hospitality. Let's read Genesis 19:3.
And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned into him and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat.
So these particular men angels had to be in the form of a man because he called them Lord. And no angel is going to allow you to bow down and call me Lord. You're going to be rebuked. Not only do that to God. John in the book of Revelations tried to do that, and the angel rebuked him and said, no, I bow down to the same one you bow down to, and that's him. Don't do it to me. And the word Lord is lowercase, Lord, Lord. The same Lord is being used when Sarah called Abraham Lord. So that's where he possibly got the word Lord from, hearing Sarah calling Abraham Lord, meaning I'm submitting myself to this particular person. All right. He also offered his virgin daughters. This is talking about bad decisions.
Oh yeah,
Finna find out.
haven't been.
Where are we go? That's why the scripture's going to make everything clear. He also offers his virgin daughters in place of his neighbor's gay demands to sleep with the strangers. Is that a good choice? Come on. I'm going to offer up my daughters, my virgin daughters, to go sleep with some gay men.
They don't even want her.
Yeah, it was there, so they might be able to.
And what's this me talking about? Let's read it. Genesis 19:5-8. We're going to rightly divide this thing. We got to figure out how he found grace. Uh-huh.
You got it.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came thy under the shadow of my roof. It's that KJV stuff that makes me mad. Wow.
I read it in the CSB.
5 through 8.
5 through 8. All right, we can understand it now.
They called out to Lot and said, where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so we can have sex with them. Lot went out to them at the entrance and shut the door behind him. He said, don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I've got 2 daughters who haven't been intimate with a man. I'll bring them out to you and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men because they have come under the protection of my roof.
All right. A few things in that. Number one, he must have some kind of pull because he told the gay dudes, they under my protection. Right? That should confirm the city gate that I was just talking about earlier. The influence that he had. They under my roof. You can have my virgin daughters. When I read that, I was kind of like, is this dude low-key trying to get at them too? You know, maybe not act on it, but low-key? You know what I mean? Like, why are you willing to, like, I'm a father. I can't give my daughters up and let alone to some gay men. Huh? So Lot was willing to bargain. That was his decision. Take my virgin daughters and leave these men leave them alone, they're under my roof. Really? No. At all. No. Something going on with Lot. But we just read by Peter, Lot was righteous. He was vexed about all the evil stuff going on in his soul. So we got to figure out where did this take place at. You can see the effect the city had upon Lot, obviously. He tried to protect the men under his roof by giving up his 2 daughters. It's so much gay going on, he was willing to give up his daughter so no more gay activity can go on. Or he wanted them gay men for himself. Or, I don't know the other or. But the crowd wanted the men, and they tried to break into Lot's house to get them. Now, you know, you keep reading, the angels blinded the men outside so they couldn't see. Bad choice number 4. The angels told Lot, get going because the city and everybody in it is about to get it. It's about to burn. Let's get going. Lot, come on. Get everybody together. Let's go. It's time to go. This thing Lot did. Let's read. Genesis 19, 12 through 13.
Then the angel said to Lot, do you have anyone else here? A son-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we're about to destroy this place because the outcry against his people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it.
Who's destroying it?
The
angels.
He said the Lord sent them to destroy it.
So you see the angel telling Lot to get everybody, your son-in-law, your daughter, whoever it is, get them, let's go. Even after that warning, Lot was still hesitant on leaving. I'm trying to figure out how the heat in the world was founded grace. He was still hesitant on leaving. You know, they tell you, dude, this is where you need to be. You need to be there. You need to be here. And then they try, and then guess what they do? And but watch this. So even after that warning, Lot was hesitant on leaving the next morning, so much so that the angels themselves had to physically grab him and his family, by the hand, and get them out of there. Why does Lot don't want to leave this gay town? You vexed in your soul, and ain't right in your soul. What? Why you won't leave? Like you know it's wrong, you know you're in turmoil, you know it ain't right. You vexed in your soul, but you still in there. Something going on. Where is this found grace? That's what it said. It read 19:19 that he found grace in thy sight. Ain't that what it said? In 2 Peter called him righteous Lot. Peter called him righteous Lot. Some had Peter read and saw some. Why we ain't saw it yet? We got the same spirit in us Peter did. Why we ain't found what he righteous Lot? Don't just let me tell you. I got to take you to the scriptures. Let's hear it. Genesis 19:15 through 16. 15 through 16.
15 through 16.
Uh-huh.
We good. At daybreak, the angels urged Lot on, get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city. But he hesitated. Because of the Lord's compassion for him, the men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. They brought him out and left him out the city.
Oh, man. Because of the Lord's compassion, he'll go ahead and grab their hand. So you know what next time he's going to do, Alexis? Next time, he's going to grab your hand. Now, you come with me. Ain't that what that is it? Sometimes the Lord will... I ain't gonna put it on y'all. That's what the preachers do. Sometimes somebody's got to grab your hand. Come on, let's go. I don't want to go. Now, come on, let's go. Do y'all understand what's going on here? Hopefully this is coming to a prolific found grace. Bad choice number 5. Lot still isn't listening. The angels persisted on Lot going to the mountains for escape, but he requested to go to a nearby town called Zoar. And God spared that town for Lot's sake. They just say, was he trying to change them so they won't be gay? No. Was he trying to get them saved because he knew that's not what God wanted? No. He wanted the gay men to get right? No. How can a man be so vexed in his soul about what's going on around him, but yet so hesitant on leaving it?
Like, I know y'all.
What's the question?
Like, the grace he's getting right now, is it through Abraham?
I'm thinking about that part.
The question is by Brooke, is the grace that Lot is getting, is that through Abraham? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because he's doing all this stuff. How is he still, surviving?
Well, he said great mercy.
Yeah, great.
But he had a promise that he made to Abraham as well. Too.
Great. So is it through Abraham?
Well, we got to figure it out. Remember I said bad choice number 5, Debbie. The angels persisted on Lot going to the mountains for escape, but Lot requested not to go to the mountains, but let him go to a nearby town called Zoar. And what he read? And God spared that town for Lot's sake. Why in the world is God sparing stuff for Lot? And I have not yet read anything that's in line with Noah, Ruth, Jacob, Esau, Moses. I ain't read none yet. I don't see nothing. Let's read Genesis 19, 17 through 20. Because we're talking about the angels telling him to go to this place, but he said, no, I'm going over here. I'm requesting to be over here. So he not listening. That's his bad choice number 5. Let's hear it.
As soon as angels got them outside, one of them said, run for your lives, don't look back, and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains or you will be swept away. But Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to flee to. It is a small place. Please let me run to it. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive.
Y'all hear this game Lot running?
Yeah.
Or is it just me? Or is it nah, he want to stay close to the town. I don't want to go to the mountain, which is far away from the city. I want to go to the nearby town. You know, it's some gays there too. They probably, you know. Let me just go to the nearby town. It's just too much, you know. I don't want to let this stuff go. I mean, I know I'm doing wrong. I know this is wrong and I'm vexed in my soul. That's why I'm worried and stressed so much. But man, I don't want to let it go. Let me just go there for a little bit and then go on back home because I ain't in the structure. Watch this. As they fled, headed to Zoar, watch this. Instead of the mountains, guess what happened to Lot's wife? Lot's wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt because she loved and desired the place she just left. Have you ever read that in scripture? I don't see a plan that's going to read it. I got to give you Bible chapter and verse dispensated. Genesis 19 and 26.
But Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt.
Lot's wife looked back, bam, and became a pillar of salt. Ask yourself, why did she look back? She liked that place. How many of you girls like being around gay men? How fun it is to be around a gay man. I see women all the time happy to be around gay dudes. What y'all talking about? Happy. Happy. Well, she desired that place. Y'all don't believe me? Let's see what King Jesus got to say about it. Let's go to Luke 17, 30 through 33. If he said she desired it, then I don't know what to tell you. Luke 17, 30 through 33. David say, yes, I did. All right, David.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back.
He what? He in the field what?
He that is in the field, let him likewise not return back.
Okay.
Remember Lot's wife? Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it. And whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it.
And he that in the field, let him likewise not return back. Jesus telling that person, if you're in the field, don't return back. You remember Lot's wife? That means she what? She wanted to what? She wanted to return back. Most people think she just took a look. Oh no, she turned back. You know what I mean? Let me see if I can do that better. She didn't do this. Now, She had a desire. Jesus even mentioned it. Where is this found grace? What has he done? Where's the find? But watch this. God yet again, here it is, remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the cities. After God got rid of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot was scared to stay in Zoar and finally went to the mountains in a cave with his family. Let's go to Genesis 29 and 30. Genesis 29 and 30.
And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him.
Oh, hold on. Genesis 19, 29 and 30. Genesis 19, 29 and 30.
What we got going? Leah.
That's right, Deja. She wanted to go back. Jesus saying, don't return when you get in the field. Don't return back. And then Jesus said, you remember Lot's wife?
Genesis 19, 29 to 30.
So watch this. Lexus. Jesus said, you in the field? Don't return back. Do you remember Lot's wife? What happened to Lot's wife? Don't you turn back. Let's hear it.
So it was when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived. Lot departed from Zoar and lived in the mountains along with his two daughters because he was afraid to live in Zoar. Instead, he and his two daughters lived in a cave.
Did y'all see the main key in that? The key ingredient in that?
Yep.
God remembered Abraham.
Yeah.
And sent Lot out of the midst. He didn't remember Lot. It wasn't nothing to remember in Lot. He remembered Abraham. He remembered Abraham. He didn't remember Lot. Remember the promise we read in the start of the curriculum. They just say, so does the grace comes because of Abraham? Bus say it spill over. You say Abraham? Absolutely. Abraham. This is imputed righteousness onto Lot. That righteous Lot that Peter was talking about, that was an imputed righteousness onto Lot because of the promises of Abraham. That's how he found grace.
Magnified mercy.
Ooh. Let me keep going. Ain't no sense. Ain't no sense. Watch this. And then once they got in the cave, bad choice number 6. They got in the cave, his daughters thought wasn't no dudes around. Thought the world was empty, assumingly. Wasn't no dudes around. So let's get our daddy drunk. Lot fell for it, got drunk. Knocked off his daughter, got her pregnant. The Bible says he didn't know what he was doing. So it wasn't let me go in here and have sex with my daughter mentality. He got drunk. He was unaware of what's going on. We ain't for this do Lot like that now. I give him that. He got drunk. He should have known when to stop, though. He should have known when to cut it off. And his daughter got him drunk.
Twice.
The first one, got knocked out by her daddy. Then the second daughter got drunk again and got knocked out by the daddy. Back then, incesting wasn't bad. That sounds bad to us. But then incesting, the law ain't came yet in Leviticus, where it stopped the incesting. All right? The law ain't came yet. And he got pregnant, right? She got pregnant. And these two boys will become the father. Well, the two girls had the boys, and their name was Moab, and the other one name was Ben-Ami or Anami. Ben-Ami. Ben-Ami, I don't know, something like that. Ben-Ami, and let me go to the scripture so I can give you the verse so we can hear it.
Wasn't Moab the one that talked to Ruth? Weren't they connected in that story?
Absolutely. But don't jump the gun. I'm trying to tie this together. You messing me up, man. Yeah.
Moab being from my father.
Uh-huh.
And Ben-Ami being son of my people.
All right, so let's read Genesis chapter 19, verse 30. And 33. Hold on, 30 and all the way down to 35. Right. When let the Holy Spirit work.
There you go.
Lot departed from Zoar and lived in the mountains along with his two daughters because he was afraid to live in Zoar. Instead, he and his two daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom of all the land. Come, let's get our father to drink wine so that we can sleep with him and preserve our father's line. So they got their father to drink wine at night, and the firstborn came and slept with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she got up. The next day, the firstborn said to the younger, look, I slept with my father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight so you can go sleep with him and we can preserve our father's line. That night, they again got their father to drink wine, and the younger went in and slept with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she got up.
Y'all see? You see how the structure's out of order? The women took lead. And you see the plan they had? Alexis, stop writing for a second. You see the plan that they had? The women, when they took the lead? Let me preserve the blood lineage of my dad. So let me get him drunk. So his seed, they want them trying to keep their daddy bloodline. They had to get him drunk because they know he's not going to have sex with his daughters. That's not even an attraction. He couldn't even get sexually aroused. It's his daughter. He couldn't even get aroused. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and get my daughter. Really? They had to get him drunk. They had to do something, dope him up. So watch this. So both women became pregnant, and they had sons named Moab and Ben-Ami. These two boys will become the father of the Moabites and what? The Anamites. Read verse 37 and 38.
The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today.
Y'all see that? Oh, how wrong that was. See all that sin stuff going on? Where does the righteous lie at? Where's the found grace and all that? Well, we know what the mercy is, shoot. God had to physically drag them out of the city. Mercy. Dude, look, God had to get him by the hand. He's so gone and drag him. But the wife didn't want to go so strongly. She desired that city, the gay one, so strongly she turned around. Not turn around to look, but she turned around as though she's going back. And many years later, when the Israelites were on their way to the promised land, you know what the promised land is, the Lord ordered his people to preserve the Moabites and the Ammonites on Lot's behalf. Deuteronomy 2:9. Lot ain't done nothing, is it?
The Lord said to me, show no hostility toward Moab, and do not provoke them to battle. For I will not give you any of their land as a possession, since I have given Ar as a possession to the descendants of Lot.
Descendants of who?
L-O-T.
Read number 19. 2:19. Deuteronomy 2:19.
Read. When you get close to the Ammonites, don't show any hostility to them or provoke them. For I will not give you any of the Ammonites' land as a possession. I have given it as a possession to the the descendants of Lot.
What does Lot do to deserve that? Nothing. This is all from Abraham. This is all from Abraham. The fine grace was imputed onto Lot, y'all, because of the promises made up Abraham. God is so gracious that he still extended his grace to drunken kids. These kids were made, Lot is the son, he is the dad and the grandfather in one. And the deception of the daughters, deceiving them, getting them drunk. God still say, don't touch them people, Moab and them, and the Ammonite and them, leave them alone for the sake of Lot. Because of the promise he made with Abraham. Because Abraham put the work in. He did the fine. The Bible said Abraham was justified by faith in 15, and then turned around and said he was justified by faith and work. So Abraham did the work for Lot. And God honored his promise for his kindred, his cousins, family. That's what we read. Let's read Genesis 19 and 29. We're going to wrap it up. That's right, it's an Abraham. Lot ain't done nothing. Genesis 19 and 29.
So it was when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived.
Who did God remember?
Oh, wait.
Abraham. Abram, what we know him as Abraham. That's the only biblical consistent answer to Peter calling Lot righteous. Is that he, like Abraham, believed God. Lot believed God now.
Oh, yeah.
He believed God. If he didn't believe, he wouldn't have left. He had to get drugged, but he believed. Lot was righteous not because he acted perfectly, because obviously we see he didn't, from the strangers to giving his daughters away, etc., etc. I ain't got to go back into it. He was far from it. But we know from Peter that he was for sure troubled by the sin that he saw around him day after day. So Lot found grace was different from the rest, wasn't it? Lot found his founded grace had nothing to do with him. One thing that Lot did, he had faith. He believed God. He believed God because he did the things God told him to do. But it was a struggle doing it. But what made the grace found it wasn't him. It was Abraham, the promise he gave Abraham. And that promise he gave Abraham still applies to us today. We are descendants of Abraham, not physically, but spiritually. All right? We're not Hebrew Israelites. Don't let nobody tell you because the pigment of your skin, you are a Hebrew Israelite. Because some of the things in Deuteronomy, you know, you can somewhat associate to different races or our race. But that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing at all. The scripture don't say us, so we're not going to put us there. We are the seeds of Abraham spiritually, and that's what the scriptures say. Spiritual seeds of Abraham. We got a double whammy. We got the promises of Abraham. Jesus fulfilled those promises. And we got Mr. Grace and Truth himself. Jesus Christ. So we went through a lot of scriptures in the Old Testament about grace. Next Bible study, we will close it out on and how it plays a role in salvation through Mr. Grace and Truth himself. Lot found grace, was prolific, had nothing to do with him. God used somebody else. Faithfulness to extend his grace. And Abraham, oh my goodness, he was a father of faith. And he was Lot's uncle. Dude was in captivity. Uncle said, Uncle Abe, that's what we'll call him, Uncle Abe. Uncle Abe said, what? What? They got who? They think finna get my nephew? Abraham went over there killing folks. He did what he had to do. You think he went over there? Hey, it's okay. I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated. Nah, he went over there killing folks. Come here, I need my nephew. Come here. He got him, and his nephew say, typical teenager stuff. I'm going back to what I was doing. Sometimes those teenage ways stay up with you until you're older, 50-some years old, still doing the same teenage stuff. You just happen to be in my direction. So, this it. We have one more part of this. That'll be next Bible study, which will be Monday. We'll wrap up grace because the next two studies are going to be fire. We're going to talk about hell. And also, I got a question for y'all. My question for y'all is, you can put it in the group on the text message. During the millennium reign of Jesus Christ, when he comes back and reign, where there'll be no sin, right? Will there be animal sacrifices during the millennium reign? Will there be animal sacrifices during the millennium reign? We will have a whole Bible study series on the 1,000-year millennium reign of Jesus Christ. I want to open it up with y'all figuring it out. Will there be animal sacrifices in the millennial reign? And I'm here to tell you the answer is in the Bible, 100%. All right, so that wraps this up. Any questions about grace in the Old Testament with Noah, Ruth, Jacob and Esau, Moses, and Lot? All right. Deja say this was good. Deja, thank you for being on here. You on here all the time. You my sister. I love you. You always share the video just like everybody else, so thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. May the grace of God be with you all. Remembering the death, burial, and resurrection. Jesus Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. You can find that in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 through 4. That's how you're saved. May the grace of God be with you and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Till next time.